Hey y'all, I'm Seneca, and this is Exhaled Hope, where we have real conversations about faith in the middle of the mess. No hype, no guilt, no pretending that you have it all together. Just truth that leaves us with true hope. One of the things that I used to despise when I'd go to the gym would be the noises. You know, the loud grunts when someone would hit a PR on their Romanian deadlift or squat twice their body weight. As if the louder the grunt, the stronger they were. Now, I'm not saying that was their intention, but that's how it felt. As if in order to be viewed as strong, it must be seen and heard. But here's what I've learned about real strength, is that it's not built in the grunting. It's not even built in the reps. True strength is built in the rest, in the recovery between sets, when your muscles repair and grow stronger than before. What if true strength is found in the quiet, the unseen moments? As we honor Black History Month, I've been thinking about what strength looks like as a God-fearing African American woman. And I often think back to my great-grandparents and the entire journey as a Black community. I even wrote a spoken word piece called Good Black Don't Crack, highlighting the resilience we've had to have in order to stand where we stand today. I'll link the video in the show notes if you want to take a listen. But what I've discovered when learning about our history as a people and studying those in scripture is that strength isn't always loud. Often it's not loud. There's a popular phrase that echoes through Black communities with pride and knowing that good Black don't crack. It's our way of explaining how we're still balancing on 2 feet after all the obstacles and circumstances that don't lean in our favor. In other words, we don't look like what we've been through. And it's not to say that we aren't moved by the situations. They may bend us, but they don't break us. What if the real miracle isn't that we don't crack, but that we know how to bend? See, there's a difference between cracking and bending. When something cracks, it breaks, it shatters, it becomes something less than what it was or even unusable or beyond repair. But when something bends, it adapts, it flexes, it survives the pressure and then returns to itself, sometimes even stronger than before. Our ancestors understood that deeply. They had bent backs in cotton fields, bent knees in prayer meetings, bodies that bent under the weight of injustice, but refused to break because they were being held by something, someone greater. This wasn't weakness. This was wisdom. This was silent strength. Strength in silent prayers and prayer meetings. Strength in study of what was happening in their world and studying the word. Strength in gathering. They knew they were stronger together. Many voices were greater than one. An army marching would show a band of unity and oneness that could not be visualized as a solo traveler. In 2 Corinthians 12:9-10, Paul writes about a thorn in his flesh, something he begged God to remove 3 times. And God's response? My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Paul's conclusion, though, is what sends me. He says, therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. For when I am weak, then I am strong. That's the bending, friends. That's the posture of true strength. Not the rigid pride that refuses to acknowledge struggle, but the flexible faith that leans into God's sustaining presence. Think about a willow tree. When storms come, the rigid oak may snap and fall, but the willow, it bends, It sways, it surrenders to the wind, and in that surrender, it survives. Its roots grow deep, and its branches know how to yield without breaking. Isaiah 40:31, popular scripture, you've probably heard it. But those who wait in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Where does it say our hope should be? Hope in the Lord. Not hope in our own ability to appear unshaken, not strength from pretending we don't need rest, but renewal that comes from dwelling in his presence, chilling with Jesus, resting at his feet, being quiet while he renews us. Just like in the gym, strength isn't built in the loud grunting or the straining. It's built in the rest. When your body recovers and becomes stronger, the same is true spiritually. Our strength grows in the quiet places, in the stillness, in the moments when we stop performing strength and actually receive it. That's what I imagine when I read Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. In our culture of constant movement, of grinding, of proving ourselves worthy and never showing vulnerability, God invites us to something countercultural: stillness, rest, the holy act of bending low before him so he can lift us up. This kind of strength, the kind that bends, that rests, that surrenders to God, gives us hope because it's sustainable. It doesn't burn out. It doesn't lead to bitterness or breakdown. It's the strength that carried our ancestors. It's this strength that carried my ancestors through the Middle Passage and Jim Crow and redlining and every injustice in between. It's the strength that still carries us today. Think about the prayers of our great-grandmothers. They weren't praying from a place of having it all together. They were praying from bent knees, from burdened hearts, from bodies that were weary. But they knew one true cornerstone. They knew that Christ's presence was their sustaining power. And because they bent in prayer instead of cracking under pressure, we're here. We're still here. We're still dreaming, still building, still creating, still innovating, still worshiping, still testifying that God is faithful. Jesus himself modeled this. He retreated to solitary places to pray. He wept. He asked for the cup to pass from him in Gethsemane. He bent low in obedience to the Father's will. And in that bending, that surrender, he became our salvation. So this strength that bends, it gives us hope because it reminds us we don't have to carry everything alone. We don't have to be impenetrable. We don't have to grunt louder than everyone else to prove we're stronger. We can bring our whole selves, our weariness, our questions, our struggles, our fears, to a God who doesn't require us to have it all together before we approach his throne of grace with confidence. So yeah, this black don't crack, but not because we're impervious to pain or immune to struggle. We don't crack because we've learned the sacred art of bending, of resting in God's hands, of finding our strength not in rigidity, but in surrender of the one who holds all things together, who holds all things together. And that truth, that Christ-centered, ancestor-honored, spirit-sustained truth gives us hope. Hope that we can face tomorrow. Hope that we can endure. Hope that we can bend under the weight, but we will never break. Because we stand on the promises of God, and that foundation cannot be shaken. As you go forward this week, I invite you to find your moments of stillness, your moments of bending low before the Lord, giving yourself permission to rest, to surrender, to be held. Remember, strength isn't built in the grunting or the reps. It's built in the rest. That's where He meets us. That's where His power is perfected in our weakness. That's where we discover the strength that sustained our ancestors and will sustain us still. May you bend without breaking. May you rest without guilt. And may you know deep in your soul that Christ's presence is enough. Until next time, this is Exhaled Hope.